Today we are seeing a game of Jorden versus Sindarov in Grand Chess Field. So the game starts with d4, knight f6, and c4, e6, knight f3, e5, g3. The Catalan variation is on the board. And after bishop e7, we have bishop g2, castles, and d takes e4. And Sindarov has played this variation against the Baro in World Chess Championship candidates 2026. So I think Jordan has some ideas prepared on, and Sindarov says, okay, I'm ready for that. We have c6, queen takes c4, b5, queen c2, and bishop b7. So the goal will be to go something like knight d7, queen b6, and play c5. We have rook b1 saying that now c5 will not come. That is because we will be looking at the rook. So we have knight d7, knight c3, and queen b6. And then Jordan takes the full center, and Sindarov says, let's strike in the center, breaking this double pawns in the central space. And after that, we have e5, knight e5, bishop d5. And so far, knight takes d5 has been seen, d takes e5 has been played as well, but this bishop g5 is the new move here. And after that, we have knight b4. Sindarov idea is that he will not defend this bishop, rather he will go bishop takes f3. You cannot actually go and do this because after this there is a mate over here, and once you defend that, then white has a pleasant choice to go take up this and then exploit the dark space by taking up here. So like we can show it on the board as well, like something like maybe this one as well, because the e5 pawn is not hanging as the knight is cannot take it because the knight is hanging here, and you cannot go knight c6 because after rook takes d7 you design like this is a fork. So in the game we have bishop takes f3, and after d takes c5, now the queen is it, the bishop is it, and Sindarov says, okay, let's take this pawn because if you take this bishop, I will take up here and play this position for compensation. But in the game, we have bishop takes e7, bishop takes d1. Now, black's two rooks are hanging, but what happens is that black says, I'm fine with that. He just goes defends this rook, and after bishop takes f8, we have a very close position. And knight e4, rook d1, and queen over the queen. And after queen e2, we have knight takes e4, bishop takes e4, and knight c6. Now, here, Jordan made the first mistake, but it's not easy to play this position. Like, how will you defend this pawn? It's not easy. So, you would have probably even with the bishop like this, and then play this position, which will obviously be a very rich one. So Jordan is here for fighting chess. He says, fine, I'm willing to give you a pawn for some compensation or something. And after knight takes e5, we have queen h5, attacking this and attacking this. So f5 comes, and after f5 we have h3, saying that if you take up here, this also ruins the pawn structure, and I will get my piece back. You don't go, you cannot go easily here trying to do white's pawn structure, because like this you can maybe throw this check or you can directly take it. So that would be obviously better for white. So we have h6, rook c2, defending f2, queen d4, bishop g2, and after queen d1, trading of the queens, rook d1, and now king h2 comes. At this point, Sindarov, as you can see, is very long cloak, so he had to go knight d3 first, attacking these pawns so that the rook cannot move much. But in the game, he played this b4 move, which allowed Jordan back in the game with rook d2. Now, once the knight moved, the e6 pawn will fall, but Sindarov must have seen that and he realized that the b pawn might be more valuable than the e6 pawn, so he goes knight d3, rook takes e6, knight takes f2, and after rook e5, g6, defending the f5 pawn, and then rook e6 and rook d2. Saying you can take this pawn. I will take this one and make a pass. So rook takes b2 comes, and after rook takes b2, rook f6, king e7, and then rook a6 comes, and knight e1. Saying you can take this one, but my king will come to the queen side and knight e3 is a pin. So in the game we have first king g1, and then knight c3 attacking a2, and after rook a7, king d6, rook a6, king c5. Saying just bringing the king to the queen side. These pawns doesn't matter as long you will queen this b-pawn. So we have rook c6, check, king b5, and then knight e2. It's a very good move because black's idea is to not allow any bishop f1 jacks and bishop c4. So knight e2 first, and then as well as attacking g3 pawn, so king h2 comes, and then rook takes a2. Now black will simply try to run this pawn, and after bishop d5, stopping b3. The position is so far equal. They have played excellently precise chess, and after knight rook d2, bishop f7, d3. So you will promote this one. That's why bishop takes comes, and after a discovered check, white just loses a bishop. And at this point, Jorden made a serious mistake. He had to go g4 first. Now, if you trade, then these pawns are traded out, and knight versus rook, and a rook versus rook and a knight is a drawn and j, and the j pawn doesn't change much. But what happened in the game is he played rook h5 first, winning this pawn, but this allows Sindarov king to come in time and create a mating net. So he goes knight e4, g4 comes, king c4, and then just like that, shortly he is over because the king will be hunting down, the mating net will be made. And right now, at this position, Jorden resigned because there is not much to be seen as this system. So, an excellently precise game by Sindarov who made it look easy, and tough luck for Jorden. Please like and subscribe to my channel and comment any game that you want me to cover. And I have also mentioned in the last, like you can see, there is a thumbnail above showing up a masterclass by Fabiano, similar fashion. You can do check it out, tag him as well. Thank you.